If you like talking,
Women.
Ladies.
men,
Topic.
Conversations.
and occasional uninformed politics,
Multiple talking women is for you.
hit it!
Everybody, welcome to Multiple Talking Women. I am one of your hosts, Lana Brown.
And I'm another one of your hosts, Felicity Bramble Bush.
And hi, I'm not a host, but I'm a producer. I'm Paula Gerkin, and I'm here, keep everything under control.
You know, we're so excited today because we have someone who's sitting in front of me right now, and I urge you to check him out on the YouTube version of this. Wow, what a rascal. What a genius rascal. His name is Will Neff.
Welcome, Will Neff.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
I'm just going to get it out there. I am so intimidated because you
Really?
have really been at this for a minute.
Yeah. Podcasting and streaming. I've been doing this, I think, like 5 years
Did
now.
you invent it?
No, I think someone else invented it, but I was soon after.
But
Right
you're
after.
so young.
I don't know if I am for this
Okay,
space.
well, let's just say that you are.
Your skin looks full of collagen.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You
you
have
so
a
much.
dimple, you have beautiful hair, and your
Thank you.
teeth are crazy good.
It took us a
Thanks.
long time to come to podcasting. So what
Okay.
happened the first time you heard it or the first time you saw streaming and thought, that's for me?
Oh my gosh, I did not think this was for me at first. I had a friend who was pretty successful by the name of Hassan,
Yes.
and I was kind of a LA burnout who was ready to go home and keep bees with my cousin.
Where's
that sounds
home?
kind of nice.
Michigan.
I'm a beekeeper, so I would,
Really?
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a hive. It's part in my house and part on the outside, so you
Oh.
can watch it. It's
So
a
it's-
on
okay.
one side, so you can watch the bees. Working.
Little observation.
That's right.
Okay.
I don't think Michigan and bees. I think Michigan car parts and lakes.
They are known for that for sure. We have a farm out there, and I was kind of ready to drop out, and my friend told me you got to give this streaming thing a try, and years later, here we are.
Why you? Why did your friend think you'd be good at it? Because you're funny? Because you're clever? Why did he think you'd be good?
Yeah, he thought I was funny, and he was just basically like, you gotta, what do you have to lose?
Right,
So
you're
we
gonna
got-
come home anyways. Might as well do something.
Yeah, so we got drunk, and I bought a gaming PC on Amazon, and that's how I started streaming.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you already play games though? Did you already?
I did. I was a kind of a closet gamer. I wouldn't let people knew how many video games I played. But
Why? Why was it? Why did you keep it a secret?
I think when you're unemployed and you spend a lot of your day playing video games, it's just not something you want to mention right off rip.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The irony is that then you end up being very successful at it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like video game playing gets a bad rep because I feel
Sure.
like you're out there working with other people. You're problem solving.
I'm shocked that you like anything to do with video games. I would think
have
that.
many children,
All
and
right.
several of them do not leave their rooms. They are playing those games.
Well, see,
And
that's why you like
Well,
it.
people love to judge me, and I say they are solving problems. They're working with other people,
Learning computer literacy.
learning computer literacy, and I don't have to see them.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice.
I love it.
All right, I get. I mean, listen, I get it. I wouldn't want to see. I don't want to see any children in the
Yeah.
world.
I've noticed a lot of children recently, like at restaurants, that are just totally tranquilized by an iPad, right? They're
Right.
playing Subway Surfer or something,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
just, they could be
And,
on another
before
planet.
I had children, I'd see that, and I would judge those parents, and I would think, God, absolutely awful.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started popping them out, I couldn't give them an iPad fast enough.
What age did you give your kids an iPad?
I mean, out right out the womb.
As soon as they could hold it.
No, not
Or you
even.
could
I'll just prop it up.
Yeah, prop it. No,
Please don't look around at the sky. Please just look at the screen.
Yeah.
got it. All right. Okay. So did you grow up in Michigan?
I didn't. I actually grew up in Long Island. My mother was a flight attendant out of LaGuardia, and my dad was a lawyer in New York City. And so they both...
Did they meet?
They did, actually. They did.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a romance.
was he
Wow.
was he in first class?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
Interestingly enough, at the time he partially owned an airline called Seaboard World.
Okay.
Which delivered a lot of air cargo transport was what they did. And so he was on a flight where I think, God, I'm going to fuck this up, and my parents are going to be so mad that I messed up the story of how they met.
No, they love you.
He was
And they
on
will be listening.
He was on a flight with some royal family member, or that was supposed to be on the flight, and he knew them somehow, and then they weren't on the flight, and so he asked my mom, who's the flight attendant, hey, is so-and-so on the flight? She's my friend. And my mom was like, oh, who are you? And then,
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
And that
What a meet cute rom-com
Yeah.
story for the ages. That's like if you know when you're playing with Barbies. I feel like you'd be like, I'm a stewardess and I'm an airplane man who knows princesses.
Yeah, and I love your wording, stewardesses, the old
Yeah.
school.
That's what I call them.
Okay,
that's what my mom calls herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what it
but
is.
they were married for a full 20 years before they had me. And my dad is actually 93 years old. So he's, an
goodness.
old dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he spry?
He's spry.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, he actually broke his hip about 2 years ago pretty badly, but he's back up.
Okay.
He went on a cruise recently. He's
for
out
him.
there.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
For him.
Is he on the farm?
Inspiration.
Well, no, he's not on the farm. He lives in Pinehurst, North Carolina.
Okay.
And he writes pretty erotic fiction around World War II. That's his new venture. Yeah,
Wow.
that's real.
And where can we find his work?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to give him a little
The
plug?
same last name, Neff?
Neff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
There
I'm
you go.
going to be looking up Neff.
Yep.
So am I. Jesus.
Yeah, Neff, lovemaking, World War II.
Yeah,
We were
he's-
down in the trenches.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
interesting, unusual guy for sure.
So then, because he's got that kind of part of him that's, creative,
Sure.
does that allow him to understand what you're doing, or is he like, be a lawyer? This is nuts.
No, he's been super, super supportive about what I do. And it's so funny because I have to walk he and his friends kind of through what even the hell I do. But they're super supportive. They've been really awesome about it, which, yeah.
I want to ask you about a couple of video games.
Okay, hit me.
Smurfs, have you ever played it?
No, I have not
It's
played
from
this.
ColecoVision. Have you ever played ColecoVision?
No, it was slightly before my time.
What about Donkey Kong?
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have probably kicked anyone's butt on either of those.
There are a lot of people who think Donkey Kong Country is one of the greatest games of all time, if not the greatest gaming soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was my question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
What's your favorite gaming soundtrack? It's got
Favorite gaming soundtrack? Gosh. I don't, well, just off that, this isn't gaming, but have you guys seen the movie Challengers that just came out recently?
going
No, I
to.
haven't
Going
seen
to.
it yet.
My
Oh my
son
gosh.
saw it last night.
You have to see this. Do you guys know who Trent Reznor is?
Of course, Nine Inch
Okay.
Nails. Sorry.
Trent Reznor
course.
did the entire soundtrack for this movie about tennis.
He does a lot of soundtracks. I
Yes.
think.
And apparently the director told him, when you make this soundtrack, keep these words in mind. Unending homosexual energy. And it's a tennis movie, and every song is just throbbing house through the entire thing. And it makes no sense, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just 2 hours of like at match point.
I like
It's
it.
incredible.
It makes me think of a ball being going back and forth and back and forth and
Yeah,
back
swinging
and forth.
back and forth in the
Swinging.
shorts.
Yeah, there you
almost,
go.
You know?
Yeah, sure.
I- Trent
I want to
Reznor,
play
I
tennis
love.
with you like an animal.
Oh yeah, God! I saw him once. I saw him in the early days, and I saw him recently in an airport in New Orleans.
Oh.
And I'm really into his song with, the guy.
David Bowie.
Yes, with the two different.
I'm
colors
afraid of
eyes.
Americans.
And also, but they also do "Hurt" together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people.
Haunting.
Haunting and sexual.
I don't know any of these people.
Hauntingly
Jeez,
sexual.
hauntingly sexual. Now, speaking of sexual,
Sure.
Oh.
what where would you like as a little child? Well, because kids come from sex.
Yes.
Sure.
So,
right. No,
going back to the
drew that immediately.
beginning.
Yeah, were you
And-
were you kind of a performer? Were you funny? What was your?
Yeah, I think I was. My aunt was one of the first female managing directors on Wall Street, and my parents would work in the city a lot of weekends, and so I'd spend time with her. And so she would come home and just be like annihilated from working.
Yeah.
And I would spend all my time just trying to make her laugh, like doing really dumb, stupid shit around the clock.
Now, is that because you had a captive audience because she was just lying on the couch and
yeah,
couldn't
she
move?
could not get up. Yeah, she was
Or
trapped.
did you feel responsible, like it's my job to make this woman happy?
I a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but I know I would rehearse my tight 5 for when she got home from the New Jersey Path train, and then I just.
Was she a woman who put on her sneakers to go into the city, then switch, or
like
was she
Melanie,
in heels all
yeah.
the time?
She was in heels.
Yeah, I can feel. I don't even know her, and I can tell that.
Yeah, her
You've
feet
got a
are.
really interesting family.
Part of why.
Yeah,
I love
they're-
a woman like that. High achievers.
Yeah, and they're all from this farm in Michigan originally, where they like got chocolate for Christmas. So they're all
yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Tough women.
You don't need toys and dolls.
No, hell no. They would put a dryer in the bed with them to keep warm during the winter, so
I've
they
heard
wouldn't,
about- yeah.
so they wouldn't freeze.
Yeah.
Wow.
God, they sound like little American Girl dolls,
Yeah.
all grown up. If you know
Yeah.
those dolls,
Right,
that
they
come
all
with
have their
us.
little history.
Their
with
little
them.
their little
Sure,
histories.
Sure.
That store is fascinating. I've been to that store.
It's heaven, isn't
It's
it?
Yeah.
troubling.
Heaven. She does. This is the only thing she does do with her daughters is she does the clothing where they all dress alike.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we look at the dolls and I say, "Be more like this."
Yeah, but those dolls are. There's a whole
other issues
Red Cross
there.
area for those dolls.
Were
What is that?
they sent aid to war zones?
No, but all the broken dolls are there, and they fix them, and it's weird.
Oh, I see. Oh, like there's a
Oh.
little hospital there for
Yeah.
the dolls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
adorable.
I don't know if it's still there, but there was an American Girl doll restaurant
Oh,
at the
sure.
Yeah,
Grove.
I
and they had a
know.
show.
Yeah,
Yes.
I took
Yeah.
my niece,
See?
and it was a wild
Yeah.
wild time.
It's a good
Everybody
time.
brought their dolls. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did she?
That
She
looked-
did,
that looks just
absolutely.
like 'em.
Are there boy ones? American, like a little American dudes?
I think so.
American dudes.
You could be one.
You could be an American dude.
I could be an American dude guy.
So
Yeah.
Dolls.
I was looking into it a little bit, and
Yeah.
in college, tell us what you majored in, because to me this is fascinating.
I majored in communications and then film. I was a film major.
But gaming, there was an element that had the word gaming in it.
yeah, so I
You did research?
I did a
did.
master's degree in what was a degree called interactive media.
That's right.
Which was basically purposing film and design for like the web. So there was an element of that was learning C++ coding, which was making
Wow.
Which you
basic-
ended up needing.
Well, I've never made a game really.
Oh, okay.
So coding was always really hard for me because I'm deeply dyslexic. Deeply
Sure.
dyslexic.
Oh,
And if you've ever seen how coders do it, they do it's just like lines of text, and that
I
was
can't even imagine.
it was a nightmare.
It's like
Wow.
Yeah.
in your brain.
Very much so.
No, I couldn't do it.
So, can you tell me the difference between? Well, wait, hold on.
Sure.
Hold on. People get mad at me about this, but I like things a little bit in order, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
Your kid, you're trying to be funny for your aunt.
Yeah.
When do you first think, well, maybe I want to be a performer for real? Like, do you do a school play? What do you do?
Oh man, this is a great story. I was at my high school, and I was like the master of all superlatives. Like if you've ever seen Rushmore, the main character, how he's basically failing out of school, but like he's the president of every club and he's the captain of every sport.
Yes.
And I had a teacher named Judith Kampmann, who was so impactful on me.
Shout out to Judith.
Shout out to Judith. And she was our like film and I guess she taught film in our boarding school. And she grabbed me and she was like, you know, you're not very good at this school thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm aware.
I don't mean to interrupt, but did you know you were dyslexic at this point?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
big time.
good.
I was
Okay,
one of the
got
first
it.
kids on Adderall. I was
Oh.
one of like the first 100 kids in the country that they.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were like, this is an experimental drug, but
But
this
you
kid.
need it.
Does Adderall treat dyslexia?
No, it's I'm ADHD also. and-
But you know,
Okay.
they find that oftentimes those are linked. That
Yeah.
people with dyslexia often have ADHD or ADD of some sort.
I was so bad in school that
Okay.
they were like, yeah, give the kid speed. It
Okay.
can't hurt.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So she says you're not good at this thing.
She says I'm not good at this thing, but she said you're funny. And Judith was someone who was at Second City for forever, and her husband wrote with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh my God.
Heard of him?
And she was like, listen, if you are serious about this, I will talk to my contacts in Chicago, and you go out there as a teen to Chicago and just work at Second City during this summer in between college and high school. And I was like, yeah, done. Let's do it.
Wow.
And that's how I started.
And then you just started seeing people on the stage and you went, oh.
Yeah, I started seeing people on the stage and I was obsessed with Chris Farley. I was obsessed.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Obsessed with Chris Farley.
Who isn't?
Now, is he still? Are you too young to have been there when he was there?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Too young. When he died, I think I was 12.
Okay.
But I remember the day he died and how impactful that was on me because this was like my hero.
It was like your President Kennedy moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was rollerblading when someone told me.
You didn't forget.
Did you fall
And you
and
had
crash?
your face plant.
just
Jeez.
collapse.
Yeah.
Did like the best Chris Farley pratfall.
I still do a pretty good Farley to this day. I still have like the not what your parent,
That is
just-
really
yeah.
good.
That's
We just
really
got a
good.
moment. Do a little more.
Do a little more.
Please.
I bet you're asking yourself, hey, Matt, how do we get back on the right track?
Oh.
Yeah. That was one of the things I did for my parents always was Farley.
Channeling him.
Makes me miss
Well,
him.
what I like is that this teacher saw what I think is true is that just because you can't necessarily, school's not your thing,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're not genius brilliant.
Yeah. She saw that, and I was pretty open about how much I fucking hated school.
Yeah.
So she was like, listen, kid.
But I love
Right.
that.
Let's find
I
something you're
love
going to
that.
be good at.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. All right. Okay. Now that I understand that, so eventually you're at Second City. You're doing that thing. You end up, continuing going down the path of like improv, that kind of stuff, sketch kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
so I did my summer, and then I went to Elon University and started studying communications.
Where's that?
and
I don't know.
That's
That's North Carolina.
North Crack-a-Laca. And then towards the end of my time there, I got an internship at the Laugh Factory through Jamie Masada.
Oh, so that's
And
what brought you out here.
Yeah, and so I was the guy who ran camera and like logged all the performances. So I would sit there at night and just watch stand-up reel after stand-up reel after and log them. Then I got my master's degree, and I was with my mom and dad in North Carolina, and they live on a golf course, and I was playing 18 holes a day, and I was like, if I don't get the hell out of here, I'm going to do this forever. Like, this is a trap.
Yeah.
So I threw what little belongings I had in my car, and I drove out to Los Angeles and failed for years. Just
Yeah.
abysmal,
When you say
terrible, soul-crushing failure.
We like to hear this because we're currently failing hardcore.
We are. That's why we're doing this.
And that's
is
why
we're
we
trying-
decided let's try to do it this way.
Yeah.
But how did you get yourself up again?
And tell me what you mean by fail? Because you're out here. You're taking classes.
Yeah.
At the Groundlings, right?
Yeah.
And what are you doing to fail? You're auditioning and not booking things. Look, what's happening?
That, and then it's funny. There's a term that gets used a lot called failing up.
Yes.
I think I was the opposite. I think I was succeeding down, where there were a few times where I would have like really a lot of success on the internet and just not be able to monetize it or leverage it. Yeah. So I was one of the first creators at BuzzFeed. I was really looking for a job, and I was kind of just blind, submitting myself. And BuzzFeed took a look at one of my sample videos and was like, yeah, come on. And I had a ton of success at BuzzFeed, but they like never paid me anything, essentially.
Wow.
So I did that for like 2 years and never got a real contract with them, always on like a fellowship or an intern contract.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And,
Wow. Okay.
But now you're not failing anymore. So
No.
it did work.
Well, I think learning how to fail is like one of the most liberating things that you can do as a creator, because I think a lot of people have art in them. They have songs in them. They have comedy in them. But they have this barrier where they're like, okay, if I try and I fail, then this is it. Then it's done. And that's so not true. Failing is the first step to like figuring this out. And so I think partially failing over and over and over again was how I finally figured out how to put everything together and be like, okay, now then it wasn't scary anymore, right?
Does this make you two feel really good about yourself?
Well, no, I'm wondering. Great. Do you? Is it because you learned something from the failure it changed how you approached the next thing? Or was it more internal where you felt like, oh, I survived.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die.
I think that was it. And I think the idea that I didn't have to be so precious about what I was making. I was so precious about everything that I was generating. You know, just months of being like, oh, it's got to be perfect. And then it gets out and it has success. But like the internet is about mass. It is about consistency and mass. And you never know, honestly, your greatest thing you ever make, the thing you are most proud of on the internet, might get your least views. The piece of shit that you just fucking spat out on a whim could be the thing that everybody's like, now that's great. Now that's funny.
Have you cracked what that is?
Yeah, we need some money.
This
is one of the we need money. This is the real reason, one of the reasons we brought you here, because
Sure.
you're a pro at this.
Okay.
We need you to tell us how to be successful at this, and what
What are the ingredients?
Yeah, we'll throw some pieces of crap anywhere you tell us. If you, will you mentor us through this?
I'll do my best.
Okay,
I
you
still
heard it
remember
here.
some of the things that I did at BuzzFeed that were like really strange. I would, you know how you can write tags for videos? I don't think you can do this anymore, by the way. But I would tag the video, girlfriend, boyfriend, all the astrological symbols, and then like and that would just juice my views like crazy.
Right, random tags. Yeah,
So it's stuff like that.
yeah,
it's
it's
the
kind of
tags.
random. Okay,
And
tags.
it's tricking people a little bit too.
Yeah, you got to kind of capitalize on.
Yeah, what's in the zeitgeist, and then you hashtag it.
Yes.
How do you stay in the zeitgeist?
I don't know. Stay abreast of everything that's
Yeah,
happening
you got
on
to
the
stay
internet.
abreast of
I
the
think
news.
he's naturally talented though, and witty and clever.
I think you're deeply connected to something that we are just not.
source energy.
Now, how did you two meet? How did you get us involved, Paula?
This one's easy because he knows my best friend, Allison Dunbar.
That's right.
That's right.
And as you all know, Allison Dunbar is my best friend.
Yeah, we don't quite believe that.
Well, she admitted it on the show.
Well,
She said-
because you were
to.
sitting right there, and she's a nice
She's my
person.
best friend.
She said she knew you.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. And you took a class from her
I did.
at the Groundlings.
And she is one of the funniest people I've ever had
Yeah, she's
the
very
privilege
funny.
of being around.
She's very funny.
She's so funny.
Yeah.
She's
and I
deeply
said to
funny.
her, hey, do you know anybody in the who could maybe, like you using your words, juice up our views?
Yeah.
Juice up our listens. And she said, Will Neff.
This fucking guy.
This guy.
I love Allison because one of my favorite things about her, she's this beautiful woman.
Yes.
And
She's
she
all right.
she gravitates towards doing like really grotesque characters, which I always thought was so funny. You know, she'd be just picturesque and then she'd get into her character mode and be like,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like
Yes.
a creature.
We've noticed that the Groundlings seem to like that. The women,
Yeah.
they like to,
Yeah.
they might be very attractive, but then they
like
play-
to be,
Yeah. They
looking
get-
like a real character.
Yeah.
That's
The
right.
uglier, the better. Wow.
Yeah, that's the most fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get into something here that I don't know anything about.
Sure.
And I purposely did no research.
Okay.
Because you're here. Why would
Great.
I?
I can lie about it.
Twitch.
Yes.
What is it?
Gall. It is a live streaming platform owned by Amazon.
Live.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazon
So-
owns everything.
So almost all the content that's being consumed on Twitch is happening as you're watching it. So it is kind of different to a YouTube in that there's not the editing or the packaging, and that it's very raw. And a lot of it is gaming, but it has developed now that it has all kinds of different content. And it is climbing its way more and more into the zeitgeist because of like young streamers right now that are kind of terraforming the industry.
And so
Terraforming.
it's not okay.
Love
so
that.
if I go to Twitch,
Yes.
is that twitch.com?
Yes, I think it's twitch.tv actually.
Twitch.tv. I go on. I make a login.
Sure.
Am I doing it right so far?
Yo, yeah.
You create a password.
I create a password.
You're practically done.
I'm practically
yeah,
done.
You've done it.
And then how many, at any one given time, if I go on twitch.tv,
Sure.
how many different things are twitching? I'm assuming you call it twitching.
How many streamers are
How
there?
many streamers are going on? Like, how many things could I watch if I was like, I have an hour?
I think there's like 9 million channels right now.
Whoa.
And is it Twitch? Because you're just like twitching because there's so much to
There's
see.
a lot happening.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
The thing that's amazing about it is like 90% of those channels will be 1 to 3 viewers.
Well, that was my question
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if there's 90,
But you have a lot of viewers.
I have what is considered above the mean or median for,
Okay.
for the platform. I
Median.
think that's the word.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And why? Why do you have more? Is it because you're clever?
I think so.
I think so.
I think I have had a real tenacity for making like different things on the platform and being consistent. And I think that helps a lot on any platform is consistency and just
So they know, we're going to go to Will Neff
Yep.
Twitch, and we know
7 p.m. I'm there.
7 p.m. What sort of is going to go down? We're going
Yeah.
to see our dude.
Yeah. And I think, speaking of failing to learn how to succeed, I think all my experiences, film, improv, stand-up, digital creation that I failed at, I brought them to Twitch streaming, and it was like, oh, we haven't seen this before. You know, we are used to a certain type of creator. So, for example, like when I joined this one gaming org, I made like a 15-minute homage to Ari Aster and like his horror movies.
Love him.
And I made like a horror movie announcing that I had joined this org, and people loved that.
Wow.
And it's different
That's
and
very
weird.
creative.
And
Do you spend the first chunk of your day planning your Twitch, or do you just go, Twitch, let's go?
I will earmark things I want to talk about, but I've been doing it so long now that it's like, put me in front of a mic, wind me up.
It'd be like getting together with a friend and going, I'm going to write down a bunch of
Yeah.
things to say. You don't have to. You're just
Yeah.
going to talk. Do you have a certain time every day that is
7 p.m.
every day?
West Coast till like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
And people
I'm
just
usually still
basically get to
sleeping.
hang out with you. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
There's certainly kind of a parasocial element there, for better or worse. I try and keep it on the for better side, but yeah, I think for a lot of people, what my content is and what a lot of this content is, right? My advice to podcasters or
Oh,
streamers,
yeah, we'll take
or
it.
any-
Yeah.
Please.
so I think a lot of traditional media creators think of their content as like a primary thing to be paid attention to. But we are in the era of neurodivergence where people do multiple things at a
Double
time.
screening.
Double screening. And a lot of content now, I call it left monitor content.
Yep.
Where it's like, it is the content that is being played while you are studying, while you are at your job, while you are editing a photograph, while you are taking a hike, while you are walking your dog. And that content has blown up, right? There is a reason that radio survived so long into a modern age, and it's because people consume it while they're driving. People
It's their
consume it,
secondary thing.
and that is where podcasts,
That's secondary,
streaming,
a podcast.
they have dominated that space. So I tell my audience all the time, I'm like, I know a lot of you should be working right now. I know a lot of you should be studying,
Yeah.
and I'm just here to be your security blanket, and that's A-okay.
Wow.
It's so true. I heard
wow.
that some television shows are getting told, no, we're not going to buy you because you're not double screener.
Yeah, second
enough.
screen enough.
Second screen
Right.
enough.
Yeah. Here's my thing, Will.
Hit me.
I've never failed at anything before.
Okay.
So this ain't going to be the first thing.
Right.
This podcast. You know what I mean? So what about if people watch us on YouTube, now they can watch us?
Yeah.
Is that also a second screen right now? Or is this am I too much? Am I too much? Am I too much charisma?
I would say it's like 1.5 screen, where I think people put it on and they like to be able to tune in and be like, oh, that was a great moment.
Great.
And then go back to like,
Great.
I'm making a sandwich.
Got it. Got it.
And now let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Oh.
Sure.
How do you make that cold hard cash? Are there advertisers on
Yeah,
your
you doing
Twitch?
advertising.
Or do you pay? Do people pay for subscriptions? How's that?
Both.
Both. Wow.
So I run 3 minutes of ads an hour on my Twitch, which is considered light now. A lot of people run even more. And people will pay to avoid those ads.
Right.
Those ads also pay me if people watch them. And then beyond that, I will probably do 1 or 2 endorsements like a month where I will do something special and be like, hey, today's stream is brought to you by Bird Milk. Slurp the chirp.
Is that a real thing, Birdmill?
No,
okay.
it's actually a fake product that I pitch when I don't have sponsors, just to keep the place warm.
It does keep it warm.
Yeah, there's an area here if you
Can
want to
I
put your product in. Yeah.
I feel like thinking of your dad and his friends and thinking of the whole industry, right? I went whole industry.
Yeah, you did.
You know, you're on the frontier.
Sure.
And you're like leading the charge as if you're on a horse.
He's on a horse through the
You're
mountains.
in this frontier and you're succeeding at it. And I feel like, do you know the show The Actors Studio with that guy James Lipton and they would sit on the stage?
Yes.
That's what we're getting now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're getting.
We're getting all these mic drop, really deep, I think really deep moments.
Yeah, don't
Yes.
stare at me about it.
Well, you're a little too relaxed.
I'm the one that brought him.
Okay. I'm really pumped.
I mean, I think this ADHD diagnosis, I'm just going to say it, has allowed you to tap into some other frequency.
Yeah.
You're made for this moment.
My mom always told me that. She was like, listen, being ADHD might make your brain different, but in that difference, you might find art, you might find creativity.
You listen to that sentence. You don't get that on
Do you
James
feel
Lipton.
any
No.
pressure ever to, because you're at the forefront of all of these things, to be at the forefront of the next
Right.
thing?
Are
Yeah,
you-
that's scary. What's the next
Yeah,
thing?
what's happening now that you're like, I don't know how to do that? Is there anything like that?
It's interesting because I think the industry is kind of in a lull in terms of like the next thing, right?
That's what
Especially
we've heard.
with TikTok getting
Right.
taken out and told to look at the rabbits. Oh,
But
man.
is it really?
Well, it's on the edge.
I would say that my level of confidence in TikTok is not great.
Because we want to do little TikTok things.
Well, here's my thing. It might get shot in the fucking head and die,
Okay.
or otherwise it'll be sold.
Right.
Now, the Chinese might be collecting your data, but they're also really fucking good at making algorithms, which is why TikTok has succeeded. So if they somehow lose that proprietary software or it's limited in any way, TikTok won't have the impact that it has right now.
Okay.
I feel like I'm learning a lot of stuff.
That's really
Why
interesting.
wouldn't you want your data collected?
That's what
I
I'm
don't
asking.
care.
Like, if I go on there, me,
True.
Lana Brown, and I do a little tutorial about something, or I make a sandwich, what do I care if someone in China steals that?
Yeah.
And what does exactly mean?
I have to say,
steal
you know
it?
what I love? I love when I'm sitting here and let's say I'm talking about a sandwich and I go on my phone. They're going to show
I
me
love that.
so many
Ad for
sandwiches.
I love
Sandwich.
that. Sometimes I just think, oh, I'd like to go to the beach in a blue suit. And then I pick up my phone.
Wait, you think it?
I think it.
Oh,
I
that's
think it.
That's
So
next.
I'm really tapped in.
Yeah. I never used to be afraid of that kind of stuff until I met one of the guys that made one of the AdSense programs once upon a time. And he kind of very ominously said, "You won't believe what I can tell you about you through your data." And I was like, oh God.
Okay, if you can believe it,
Yikes.
we're creeping up on the time. It goes
Okay,
fast.
Sure.
Here's what I want to know.
Sure.
So you've got improv background, you've got acting background, you're Twitching, you're YouTubing, you're TikToking. What's next? What if you had your dream of what's next in life?
Well,
Is it?
I hate to interrupt, but
What?
I'm going to.
Why?
Because you touched on acting, and I know that there was acting at some point. But then you are an actor who is working at acting.
Exactly.
I am. Yeah, I'm really focused on voice acting now.
I see. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
And okay.
What if someone swooped in, was like, "Hey, Will Neff, would like you to be in this movie.
that?
Ben Stiller's directing." And
Oh,
sure.
this is a great-
Come scoop me.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
scoop
you ready to be scooped? All right. You
so
heard it here
what is
first.
the dream? Is it? Do you like TV? Do you like film? Do you have what's your dream?
Ah, man, I was so focused upon being on Saturday Night Live at some point, and I think unfortunately I'm hitting kind of the age barrier there.
Not necessarily.
I'm 34.
We've
may
met
go
we've
younger.
met some people through this show who've worked on it, so we'll
Yeah.
send it out to them.
Hey,
Have you sent tapes in?
once upon a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to do it. You got to not
Keep doing
keep
it.
doing it.
I don't know. I think just being able to make people laugh is such an unbelievable privilege for me. I spent a lot of my adolescence really sad.
Yeah.
And I think I found a lot of solace in being able to make people laugh. And so being able to do that professionally is just, I sometimes wake up and I'm like, this is such an unbelievable blessing. I remember the first time I earned a check for being funny at BuzzFeed, I called my mom and I was just
Oh, yeah.
So truly, I
So wherever you can be funny.
I have an
wherever I can
idea.
be funny. Yeah.
It's going to be a new type of talk show.
Okay.
In the new world that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not just like Jimmy Fallon sitting there. It's you're hilarious. You bring your improv. You interview people, but also we get to learn more about you, and then you get to because some of your stuff is. There's a tiny element of jackassness to it. Like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this. I'm going
Yeah.
to do this crazy thing. And he does that. He does it all.
Yeah.
And it's also maybe
it sounds like what you're
switched.
talking about is kind of a variety show.
A variety
Kind of a
show
variety
with him
show.
hosting.
Yeah, could be.
When I
That's
was at,
bigger than SNL.
When I was at BuzzFeed, they called me the BuzzFeed Steve-O because I would do
Oh wow,
anything.
that you caught on.
See?
And
Good job, Lana.
once upon a time, I got vajazzled, which is where they waxed
Yes.
my pubic area and
then put
Bejazzled.
gemstones
on it.
And that was amazing because we were in a room about this size, and I was the only guy at BuzzFeed who did it. It was all women who did it, and
See?
the
That's why
director-
you're special.
The director was a woman. The camera person was a woman. The
Wow.
tech was a woman.
Wow.
The sound person was a woman. And they were all in a room this size with my flaccid cock out,
But
getting
was your
waxed.
cock in the little bag?
No.
Oh, it was
just out.
there.
And it was my first time getting waxed, so I bled a lot.
Oh.
Wow.
So
Did
I
you
was-
scream?
No, I was crushing Cosmopolitans. I was like 6 Cosmopolitans deep. Just getting
Wow.
What a Tuesday.
What I find interesting about this is in my life and in my where my vagina is. I'm always
where is it?
Here. I'm always trying to grow more hair. So I always found it interesting with people who are getting waxed because I'm like, what creams can I put on there to make it fuller? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
However,
I
her
think-
beehole is so smooth.
Wow.
Yeah, that's natural.
From the taint down, smooth.
smooth, but from
Yeah.
the front,
No.
it's
Just a
it's
The
really
jungle.
very
It's
fluffy.
a jungle out there.
It's a jungle out there.
She's
and
a
that's how I
bramble
like
bush
it.
almost.
But
Yeah.
so
So I
you're
like it.
bleeding and then they put glue on crystals? That's yikes.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it
I
was
don't
a
like
mess.
those.
It was a
Wow.
mess.
Well, I'm going to be hunting for that. Is it somewhere online?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it will follow me always.
Wow. Wait to see it.
Maybe you could have your hair beaded.
Sure, I would
Yeah.
try that. I would do that.
Ooh,
Although I
some
don't know if
braids.
that's like appropriation. Like, is
Oh.
that
Right, that's true.
I don't know.
necessarily.
Is there cultures that do that, and then I'm going to do it, and they're going to say, "Hey, you can't do it."
I don't.
Maybe nobody bejules their
Well,
Maybe that would be just something I'd start.
but then you could also do a mohawk. You could do all
No, but then
the styles.
because you have to shave to do that, and I'm not.
No, you could
I
do
wouldn't
that with gel.
Oh,
Good call.
wow.
Well, this feels like a great place to wrap it up.
Sure.
Can you please, before we end, we always ask our guests, if you were to give someone advice,
Yeah.
maybe a kid like you were when you were, kind of sad and confused,
Trying to make your
or
tired aunt laugh.
anybody, yeah. What do you, if you got a dream, what advice do you have?
Oh man. I think we live in a time where social media is going to tell you that you are too old for what you're doing at any age. At any
Big
age.
for us because we're really
Yeah.
getting there.
Pushing it.
There's always going to be a teen who is a prodigy at social media or whatever it is you want to do. And I think we inherited a world from our parents and our parents' parents where when you left college or high school, you were supposed to be this fully formed adult and at least have a path. And if you don't, you can slide into depression very early and just go, I have lost my window. It is gone. And to that, I would say that's ridiculous. You cannot compare your life to someone else's life in boxes that they neatly create on their social media.
Yeah.
You are your own unfinished product, and you need to keep striving for what you want to do up until your last breath. And even at that point, if you've succeeded in everything you want to do, you still are an unfinished product. Because my 93-year-old dad, at the tender age of 87, decided he wanted to write erotic fiction about World War II, and God damn it, he did.
God,
Yeah.
this is so inspiring.
This is so
so
inspiring.
You're better
Right.
than Tony Robbins. You're better than any of those people.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We got to add that onto it too.
Yeah.
Like what you're going to do.
Hashtag Tony Robbins, but better.
But
Yeah.
better.
Well, yeah.
He is a lot taller than I am, though.
He's very tall.
Very
He's
tall.
intense. I find him too shiny.
Yeah, there's
He
some
needs
stuff.
powder. You know what I
going
mean?
on.
He's a shiny guy. He's got a
Yeah,
powder.
I get that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Can I just say one quick thing?
Sure.
I
I
mean,
was
it
thinking
seems like you're
about
gonna.
the pube stuff.
Yeah.
And I was realizing
Me too.
you could have like a backwards pube mullet if you were waxed and shaved in the front and then let it all grow in the back.
Business in the front,
Imagine that.
party in the
Party
back.
in the back.
Yeah.
Almost like a horse.
Or like a horse.
Like a mane, like a horse's
Like a
mane,
horse's
and then
mane
to the back.
in the back.
Tail.
And that's kind of like
Interesting.
false advertising. Because if you meet someone and they like the hairless look,
Yeah.
you're like, look at me. And then you open your legs and it's like,
Wow.
Wow. Your taint is just covered and
Look at that.
everything up in there.
Yeah.
That's a fun moment.
going
Well,
down the thighs.
Listen, I thought we ended on a lovely moment, but that's great.
That
this
was
is better.
lovelier. It'll stay with me always.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
No, your inspiration is going to stay with us for a good long while.
Yeah.
Truly,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right,
you.
let's give it up for
Will Neff.
Thank you so much.
Multiple Talking Women is hosted by Lauren Burns, Ariane Price, and Lisa Shurga, and produced by Carafano and Amelia Misco at Stampede Ventures for the Stampede Podcast Network. Okay, I'm done now.